All right, guys, so we're going to elaborate a little bit on what we started talking about last week in language arts, which were similes, okay? So we started talking about similes last week. We know that similes use like or as to create a comparison. So in the example, Annie eats like a pig, when we see this word like, it means that Annie is demonstrating some of the characteristics or qualities that a pig might exhibit. All right, so with a metaphor, metaphors are similar to similes in that they are still creating a comparison, okay, but they do not use like or as. That's the most important part. Metaphors do not use like or as. They say that the object or person is that thing. So Sally is such a pig. So she's not saying she's like a pig, she's saying she is a pig. Okay, so we do not have like or as. I'm going to make that little note here. No like or as. Okay, we're still creating a comparison just like we do in a simile, but we are not using like or as. Okay, so we know that if we're saying Sally really, so we know if we say Sally is such a pig, we know Sally really isn't a pig, she's a person, okay? But when we use the metaphor to say she's a pig, we mean that she's very messy. So again, she's taking on the qualities of a pig. So we're using that to create a better picture in the reader's mind. And we remember, this is a strategy we use in our writing. So we're using this to create a better picture in our reader's mind of what we're trying to say. So instead of saying Sally is messy, we say Sally is such a pig. And then the reader can say, oh, okay, well, I know pigs are messy, so Sally must also be messy. And that happens in your brain without you even realizing it when you're reading a book, okay? So these just really help paint a better picture in your mind. Another metaphor that you might have heard would maybe be like, Bobby was on fire, okay? So when I use that metaphor, I don't actually mean, so in the context of my reading, it may say, Bobby won 4 games in a row. Bobby was on fire. Okay, so it doesn't mean that Bobby is actually on fire. Okay, so when we use similes and metaphors, it's not literal, meaning it's not actually what it says. It's using it to create a comparison between two things that illustrates the point a little bit better. So if I say Bobby was on fire, it is a metaphor because it does not use like or as. It doesn't say Bobby was like a fire or Bobby was burns as a fire. It doesn't say any of that. So we do not have like or as, so I know it's a metaphor. And what it means, so it doesn't mean that Bobby is actually on fire. It means that Bobby is doing really well and he's winning all these games in a row. That's what the metaphor means, okay? So you have to take a step back and say, well, does it mean Bobby's actually on fire? Because sometimes in a story, it may actually be what it's saying. Bobby may be on fire, okay? So you have to take it in the context, or meaning that you're looking at the sentences around that sentence too to say, is this a metaphor or is this reality? Is this what's actually happening, okay? All right, guys, that's the difference between similes and metaphors. Thanks for watching.